Not chiropractors and chiropractic students, with this one, I want to lay out the framework for you as to exactly, step by step, in sequence, what it takes to build a thriving pediatric, perinatal, and family practice. Now, the truth is, this framework that I'm going to teach from here today, again, in a very specific order, you're going to know what you need to focus on first, and then where to go from there to scale your practice, your impact, your vision to a whole nother level. This has always been the blueprint. This has always been how it works. But I want to sneak this in real quick before I get into the framework. Now it works better than ever before because the world is shifting, swimming, sprinting towards us because they're leaving the conventional pediatrician, big pharma, big food. And not only have they exhausted everything within the traditional medical system, but they're also really struggling right now within this kind of natural health, holistic health, functional health environment where they've also maybe, when I got into practice, they had tried all the medications and then maybe they would turn to chiropractic and things natural. Now, pretty much everybody in your community, and I know different communities are a different scale of uptake with this natural, holistic, infrared sauna like that behind me in my house living. But a lot of them are completely overwhelmed and exhausted because they've already spent so much time and so much money on these natural holistic remedies as well. And they haven't been able to see healing for their child and full health for their family just yet. So I just want you to know that this framework is legit. And it would have worked in frickin' 1985 or 2005, but it's really humming full send right now in 2025. So let's hit the foundation. The foundation of practice success is the original, again, in our program, we call them the foundational C's. It is your certainty. Now, other C's that are the closest cousins of certainty are your conviction, your clarity, and your confidence. And this is where we all must start. See, most of us end up in chiropractic without a family practice because we have confidence. We are very clear that chiropractic can help with back pain, neck pain, musculoskeletal issues because the majority of our training gives us that confidence down that path. And that's about it. Most of us never leave that lane because we don't really understand the neurological components of subluxation and we don't really apply it to pediatrics, pregnant moms, and family practice. So the first thing you need to develop without a doubt is just your coming out of your freaking eyeballs certainty and confidence and clarity that the care you provide as a chiropractor is the most transformational thing you could ever do for a kiddo. And that comes from science. Where does our certainty? Because if you write that down, you go, okay, certainty first. Well, where do you get it? Well, you get it by training, advanced training in the science and the clinical protocols and the philosophy and really that level of training to say, this is what's happening with kids. This is how subluxation affects a kid's development and health and well-being. This is an appropriate care plan for that kiddo. This is how we make the changes and alter their lives in a major way. Okay, so let's kick this framework off by starting with the foundation. The foundation of your practice growth, specifically family practice growth, has to do with the certainty, the clarity, the conviction, and the confidence you have in taking care of kids and families, not just back pain and spinal issues. So the number one reason that most people get defaulted, most chiropractors get defaulted into this scripted spinal care, x-rays, billing insurance, adding shockwave and rehab and lasers and therapies. The reason every other chiropractor pretty much looks like every other chiropractor and doesn't really go into a thriving family practice, more so than maybe putting the name, the word family in the name of their practice, is because they just lack that conviction. And so certainty is not something we just stumble upon. So the first action step to lay the foundation for your family practice is you've got to study, you've got to train, you've got to go, chiropractic students, if you're in there right now, you got to step outside of school, you got to go to the right clubs, you got to go to the right seminars, you got to go shadow thriving pediatric and family practices on your weekends and on your breaks and say, what does it take to really have that certainty and that conviction that can take that message out into the community? And we'll get to that. We're going to talk about branding and marketing here as we build our practice growth framework, and then deliver the goods, because that's the second C. So I know we just went through 4, but if we just, instead of confidence, clarity, conviction, if we just call it certainty, the next one is clinical delivery. Okay. You have to be able to deliver a level of clinical results for even complex cases, let alone easy ones like wellness checks and colic and ear infections. In today's practice environment where chronic illness in kids like autism, ADHD, anxiety, epilepsy, pandas, you need this advanced certainty and a high level of clinical competency and proficiency to be able to take care of the toughest cases with chiropractic alone. Now, I want you to hear everything out of this video, but I really want you to hear this. What a lot of people think is if I'm going to step into a pediatric and family practice environment, and especially if I'm going to take on autism and neurological cases, I need to mess around and learn how to be a part-time PT and a part-time OT and learn primitive reflexes and focus on tongue ties and soft tissue issues and microbiome disruption and nutrition and all this other sort of stuff. And the simple truth I can tell you from having the leading pediatric practice in the world who has cases, what we call intensive cases of autism, epilepsy, cerebral palsy, literally come from other countries and get care at our practice. It's chiropractic alone, baby. The key, and it all starts with your certainty. So back a step to get to this step. To world-class clinical results is you just need to go that much deeper into the delivery of chiropractic. You need to be that much better clinically. And I don't want that to come across as arrogant or inflated in any way, because I don't want it to come across as from me to you and me telling you what it takes. I want you to know that that's what those kids and families deserve. They need you to be the best chiropractor on the planet, the best nervous system focused subluxation annihilation expert on the planet. They don't need you to be their vision therapist, their nutrition coach, their dietitian, and mess around with primitive reflexes like you're a therapist. That's not chiropractic. And those aren't even foundational root cause issues. If we take the first thing and I were to start teaching you some science right now, retained primitive reflexes are only there because subluxation is retained in the first place. The digestive system is a mess and it can't detox because the nervous system is stuck in sympathetic dominance, dysregulation, and dysautonomia, and the nervous system controls the gut, the immune system, inflammation, and detoxification. I could go on, but I'll leave it there for this video. Once you study the science and the clinical delivery of chiropractic and you figure out how to care plan and how to adjust at the highest level, which few chiropractors, even in the pediatric landscape, take chiropractic to that level. They usually add in all the bells and whistles and party tricks of everything else and dilute it instead of go deeper with it. Those are the foundational steps. But I want to finish this video with really sharing in the foundation or in this framework what it takes to go even beyond that. Because if you just did those first things, if you just took your certainty and your clinical skill set and you just got out into practice, I promise you this about moms, they'll find you. They know which of us out there can really transform and save their kids' lives, but we want to help them. So the next level of this what it takes framework is to learn how to communicate and market your message and get it out into the community. Thankfully, because I love all these words are starting with C's, you can write this down into your notes as you need to become a world-class content creator. Doing videos like this. Now, obviously, this video is directed to more chiropractors to get them on mission and taking this movement of pediatric and family chiropractic to their communities. But these are the videos I do in the exact same frame, duration, and studio to talk about ear infections, to talk about autism, to talk about dysautonomia and dysregulation with my community. So content creation is the first step into them finding out that you even exist as an option. Parents are not skeptical of chiropractic. They're not against chiropractic. Chiropractic is just obscure. It isn't even in their vernacular and their understanding that you are an option, let alone an option, but the option to transform their children's lives. So content creation, marketing, branding, that's the first step to get new patients in your door. That's why we're building this framework from you first, inside out, certainty, clarity, communication, clinical skills. That's you on the inside. That's you being able to deliver the good. Now we're going to get it to the outside. We're going to use communication and marketing strategies and content creation to get them in the door. That's where the clinical skill sets come back around so we can deliver the goods. And now what about your business? Now, those of us that are called to step up, start and run a practice, we've got some more skills we need to learn in addition to the communication and the clinical delivery. We need to learn how to be a CVO CEO, Chief Visionary Officer, CEO, Chief Executive Officer, really run the show, and then a COO with operations and systems and procedures. And yes, as a startup, if you're watching this and I am blessed to find you in startup season, you wear all those hats, but you don't have to over time, because a true visionary leader, a true leader brings others onto the team. So I am no longer the CEO of my company. I'm in charge of vision and building strategy to get there and then delivering care. I'm no longer, definitely not, never have been, because I hired this right away, the COO. So I don't run the systems and procedures. Our CAs and our team does that, okay? So there is a way to not only start your practice because you have the conviction, the clinical skill sets, and the ability to communicate the message to your community, get kids and families in the door, have them experience miracles, and they tell others. When that happens, your practice is going to grow so fast that this last chunk or this last group of skills in this What It Takes framework are going to be essential for you to learn next, so you continue to grow and scale your practice to transform the lives of thousands every single week in your community. And add that all up, what do you think that's going to mean for your family's financial success? What do you think that's going to mean for the level of enjoyment and impact and fulfillment? And when you scale through team and systems, instead of trying to do it all yourself, even freedom to spend time with your family, to live an incredible life. This is the framework for massive impact. This is the framework for massive success. If you love this stuff and you learned from this stuff, I would love your help getting this message out there, because I am certain, fully convicted, and wildly experienced in telling you this is the practice model of today. This is the most impactful, most successful, most gotta have it practice model out there. And I want every chiropractic student, every chiropractic startup, and every experienced, established chiropractor to know this. So if you could, please comment below with one, something you learned and took away from this video and loved, and two, tag somebody, tag a homie, tag a classmate, tag a chiropractor that you love that is looking to grow their family practice, and put their name, their tag, their account linked into the comments below. And we'll see you on the next one. Let it rip, let it go. Now is the time to use this framework to explode your family practice.